Day viewers, welcome Nicole.
Hello, I'm Nicole.
Nicole's an old YouTube buddy, has gone into stand-up comedy.
Yes.
And you've been on my channel before talking about your shows. I've seen a few of your shows. And this year, interestingly, you have two shows you've been doing the rounds with.
I do have two shows, thank you.
Yes, and in one of your regular spectacular show names, what's it, Sparkle Puppy?
Oh, that's great. Techno Glitter Penguins.
Techno Glitter Penguins.
Yeah.
Sparkle Puppy can be next year.
That's great. I also had someone say, what's your Neon Polar Bears show? And I was like, brilliant!
Yeah,
like, people,
just write these down.
Yeah, people mispronouncing the shows is giving me more show titles, and I really appreciate that.
Yeah, it's like Aidsy with Flappy Birds when he couldn't remember what a penguin was called.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's and in our clickbaity way, we're also going to talk about your other show.
Thank you.
Called Makin It Rain.
Yes.
And that's what we mean. It's actually experiences being a stripper.
Absolutely, yeah.
So
that's my job.
Yeah,
because art doesn't pay. So
comedy is art.
Yes. Performing arts does not pay money to the performer person for like a good, 5 years probably average. I would say between like 2 and 10 depending on the person. A year and a half ago I started stripping as my day job because it's way more flexible, makes more money, and works better with my personality and like a million and one other reasons. And then when I was starting it, people were just like, when are you going to make a show about that? And I sort of started thinking about it more and more, and then as of like this time last year, I started kind of putting ideas together. And I also made an effort to work in a couple of other different clubs and like touching clubs and things like that to kind of get a better idea of things.
Yep.
Because up to then I'd only worked in like fairly high class gentlemen's clubs, and I know that's a certain perspective, so I kind of wanted to have a couple of different perspectives.
That was a thing we discussed when we were talking about what to talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so terminology. The difference between, as you say, the gentleman's club and a touching club. What's the difference?
Well, a touching club is really just like an industry term. So it's just saying that it's...
Because I've never seen it advertised.
Yeah.
I don't spend all that much time looking up...
Look.
But no, it's not a term I'd heard.
Well, yeah, in Queensland, the law is different with touching and no touching.
Yep.
So places like South Australia and New South Wales and WA, I don't know about the Northern Territory or ACT or Tassie. Melbourne, it's kind of Victoria, it's kind of self-regulated.
Yep.
So it depends on the dancer. But in Queensland, like, touching is allowed. So generally speaking, within the industry, if I'm talking to another dancer, I'll sort of say, is it a touching club? That's like our kind of terminology to see what it's like there. So in Queensland, there's still like strip clubs or gentlemen's clubs, but you're allowed to touch. And they also changed the law recently that you're also allowed to kiss if you want to. If the dancer wants to kiss the customer, then they can. Or if the customer is like, I'll give you like $200 or whatever, then you know what I mean. So it depends on the dancer. That's like a self-regulated thing. Yeah. They don't have to, obviously. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I had a little cheeky pash with one or two customers because I thought, why not?
So it's interesting because you're the one in control in that circumstance. Yeah. And that's the thing that people who either don't know about the industry or are opposed to various facets of the industry will always say, well, these exploited women, they have no control, they're being pimped out. Yeah. And that's got to get a bit fucking tiresome.
It is a bit tiresome, and it also really kind of contributes to, like, this stigma and also prevents, like, decriminalisation of, brothels and things like that as well. So you kind of have this knock-on effect where it's kind of like, oh, because you're assuming that women are being victimised in this situation, you're not, like, allowing it to be, legalised and regulated and sort of more out in the open and in a way that actually allows more safety and more control for the dancers in the clubs over the customers and what they're looking for. You know what I mean? And so it's something where brothels vary like state to state, but it is kind of an issue because you get customers coming into the strip club thinking that it's also a brothel, and that's not me being like, oh, we're this or that. It's just like irritating because this is not what you're here for, and you're just wasting everyone's time, and you're not here to spend money at this club, and that's just gonna waste. So for me, it's just like, if you want to find a brothel, go to a strip club, ask at the front desk of the don't go in. Ask at the front desk of the strip club, hi, where is the nearest brothel? And they'll probably have a business card for the nearest brothel because you can't like advertise or anything. Yes. But obviously strip clubs don't want brothel customers in their establishment because that's not what they're offering there.
Yeah.
So it's just wasting everyone's time.
Yeah.
And it also, depending on the customer and their approach, it might make some of the dancers feel unsafe and they might not know how to deal with it and stuff. Because as a dancer, you need to have such clear boundaries and such good ways of communicating boundaries in a way that still keeps it, I guess, a bit like fun and light, to put it that way.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? And also, allows the dancer to feel good about herself and know where she is and everything.
Yeah, and speaking of fun, we're talking about a comedy festival show.
Thank you.
That was a bit of, with the background, that was a bit full on. But we
you.
want to talk about the fun aspect. And
Yeah.
having seen some of your shows, you like to play characters.
Yeah, that's definitely me.
Yeah.
Like, this is a theatre show. It's my theatre debut. I would describe it as like a serious show by a comedian. If you sort of know what I mean. Like, there's definitely bits where I'm, imitating customers or whatever, and I'm kind of being, like physically quite funny, or I'm being quite jovial, or I'm using a bit of comedy to kind of lighten something. But overall, it is a theatre show, and it is quite a frank theatre show, and I think there's sort of a sense that, it's a little bit funny in the beginning, and then it gets a little bit more serious, and then it ends on quite a whimsical, kind of ridiculous note, so that we're not left being like, oh!
Leave them laughing.
Yeah. Any crying happens in the middle of the show, and we bring the laughter back.
Yeah. It's a roller coaster. That's what we're talking about. This is a roller coaster of emotion.
It is, absolutely.
But you're talking about imitating punters or whatnot. That's got to be, once you got in your head, maybe I should do a show about that. There'd have to be times where you just go, oh yeah, that's going in the show.
Yeah. I mean, it's more like the archetype, because it's so dense, the show. There's so much in it, It's me talking about, like, how I got started and how much money I make and how friends and family feel and, like, romantic relationships and kind of, like, the after effects, quote unquote, of the job. So there's, like, a lot in the show, and there's only really small moments where I'm able to imitate people, but I essentially kind of talk about the fact that you have these customers that are kind of on, like, a power trip with the club, and then you also have customers that are there just to have fun.
Yeah.
And I really prefer, like, as much as people will be like, oh, that guy's so sleazy. I'm like, yeah, but he's fun, though. He just sits there and he's like, yeah, get your titties out! Like, and how good is that? Like, he's upfront about what he wants. He's getting into the dance. He's not sitting there, like, stony face, just like, yeah, this is good. This is good. And he's also not trying to be like, oh, I'm going to, like, save you from all of this, because I don't need saving.
Yeah, you're in... Oh, yeah. That's thinking you're doing a good deed, and it's actually really quite demeaning to take that attitude.
Absolutely. And I think, like you were saying, people kind of assume that to be a stripper or to be in any form of sex work, you've got, like, some kind of issues or some kind of, like, abusive boyfriend or some kind of, like, really dire financial situation. And it's not that that isn't the case for some people, but there should never be an assumption of, like, why someone started to do something. Like, I'm an artist, and that's like, I'm fucked up, and that's what I'm doing. Do you know what I mean? Like,
that's the messed up side of the world.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Like, I'm someone with anxiety, and, like, there's a few like different kind of things that kind of affect the way that I see the world and stuff. And so that drew me to performing arts. And then stripping was like, oh, this is going to be a good job because I know how to perform, I know how to dance, I can control my body in a space, and I am aware of my, like, sexual boundaries, I know how to communicate with people, and I also kind of, in a way, am quite good at getting people on side with me without realizing. Like, what, flyering and stuff for a show. It's just being like, hey, I hope you like me, come to this thing that I'm doing. And that's the same thing in a strip club. It's kind of like, hi, I hope you like me, come spend $200 on me. Yeah. That's what it is.
Okay, so tips from a stripper. If you want to have a good time, actually just be positive.
Yeah,
and have a good time.
So. Absolutely. Don't put up, like, a front and a wall and try and be like, oh, I'm like too cool to be, like, impressed with your dancing or to, like, be into the fact that you're getting naked. Like, just, I mean, look, if someone is awkward about it, that's totally fine. I've had people that are awkward, but I also have people that are like, whatever. I've seen better, And like, oh, I've had better dances and stuff, and it's like, well, what are we doing here? Should I just leave? Like, I mean, if you're not gonna be on board, like, you're the one that just spent, like, $200-300 to spend an hour with me or whatever. Like, you know what I mean? I'm the one making money. I'm the one like you're.
What are you doing?
When you're being, you know.
Yeah, it's probably a foolish thing to think, I'm going to impress my stripper now. You're not there to be impressed, really.
Not Not really. Like,
No.
and I think also, honestly, it would take a fair bit to impress me at this stage. Because, like, you know, I get a lot of offers. I get a lot of kind of, will you come and spend, like, a week with me in Singapore, like, all expenses paid and stuff, and I'll pay you a wage as well. And, you know, at that point, we're talking about, like, 10 grand or something.
Yeah.
You know, so when someone's kind of like, oh, yeah, I'll tip you a 50, it's like, okay. Okay, mate.
Yeah, so don't try and be cool is the thing. Just have fun.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, look, it's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be an entertainment place.
Yeah.
You're supposed to go in there to be entertained, to be teased and titillated, and have some hopefully enjoyable company, you know? And if you're not enjoying the company of that stripper, you can go and find another one, you know? It's not like you have to be like, oh, she's the first one that talked to me, so I have to go for a dance with her. You know, you can just be like, look, I'm not interested or whatever. And, like, yeah, that might get a little bit, oh, well, you know, you shouldn't have let me talk to you or whatever. But, I mean, it can be a bit of a difficult place, and, like, you should be tipping your strippers and stuff, and you should be going for dances and everything, but at the end of the day, it is still your choice, and my thing is always kind of like, there's no point in trying to convince someone that was never on side to begin with. You know, I'm not a pushy hustler in terms of that. And it's the same with my comedy shows. Like, I wouldn't want to, like, push someone when I'm flyering, and they come along and they just sit there like, like, what's the point? You know, like, yeah, I've got their, like, $15 or whatever, but, like, why do I want them sitting there like that?
You want people to engage. So, yes, if you do want to have fun, you've got 2 chances to have fun with Nicole in the festival. The Purple Monkey Rainbow Fish.
Oh, that's good, mate.
Which is actually really called
Techno Glitter Penguin.
Techno Glitter Penguin.
Yeah.
Or Make It Rain. Are they at the same venue? Making It Rain?
Yeah, they're both at Tuxedo Cat, and they're both running for the full festival, except Wednesdays and Sundays.
Okay, so there'll be links, and you should check them out. It's going to be a good night out, whichever show you go and see. And Tuxie Cat is a venue that I go to most years as well.
Good.
You'll be able to see multiple shows in a night. It's a really good venue. You get a real mix of shows. Nicole first, obviously.
Thank you. Yeah.
But then you can see something else as well while you're there. And get yourself out and have a bit of fun. And I'll see you later. Bye.
Bye.